Welcome back, everyone. This is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage, and I am making a new video for you guys. This is a video of my latest find sewing table. Now, some of you may recall that I did a video on a sewing table just like this in the past, and then I sold it to make room for another, and that was the Neki BU Mira, which I've now decided to put up for sale, mainly because I wanted to buy another desk. I missed this blonde desk that you guys have seen in earlier videos, where it's one of the most flexible desk designs and that I've ever come across, and I love it because it takes up, it's a fairly wide table, sewing table, right? And yet it is not that deep until you open up the back, and when you do, you realize, oh, it doubles in terms of its surface area, right? So it doubles, this surface area doubles in depth, and that's incredibly helpful, and I've got some ideas for sewing projects coming up. So yes, I had one of these. I ended up selling it, and I ended up selling the machine separately, and I have mixed feelings about that because I love keeping things together. But sometimes I have clients who they don't want a table, or they just want a machine, and that's about half my clients. But the other half really want a table. So I ended up finding someone who really wanted the last table like this I had, but they didn't need the machine. And I had someone who wanted the machine and didn't need the table. Now, the last one I had a Singer 403, which is the semi-automatic version of what you see here. This machine came out of this table, and it is original. I got it from the original owners that it was being sold by. This is a 1956-57 Singer 401A, and it was the fanciest of the fancy. It was the most expensive machine, or certainly the fanciest machine that Singer offered that year. They may have still been producing the 201, which is pretty darn expensive. But this, of course, was Singer's latest technological tour de force. And I've done many videos on these. I think I've done many. I've done quite a few on this machine. So the question is, will I keep this machine as my machine? And I know you guys don't even, don't take me seriously anymore, because every time I have a machine, I think it's going to be the one for me. I have to make room. I have a number of machines here that are waiting for me to work on. But when it comes to sewing tables, I can't own. I've owned many sewing tables before, and filled huge chunks of my residence with them, and I just don't do that anymore. I prefer to take them on just one or two at a time. But anyway, this machine came with lots of wonderful attachments, and this machine uses slant shank attachments. And when I was going through the box, which was included with this machine and table. This is the original accessory box that came with this machine. And I got very lucky here, folks, because, make sure that this is, I don't want this to come off and go crashing on the floor. So this, of course, came with all of the assorted options, right? They ordered this all the way, and to use a sandwich reference. When they went to the dealer, they got the most expensive, the fanciest Singer machine. Arguably would have been a very expensive table, because it's kind of unique and has, it has these wonderful expansion features. And the person opted to get the extra fashion discs. Now, the 401A was the fully automated Singer machine, and it has tons of what they call fashion stitches. They're decorative stitches, right? Sometimes you used to call them embroidery stitches. In any case, they're stitches that very few people ever use, but even modern machines come with them, and some of you do use them, so I don't want to suggest they never get used. Now, this wonderful little box, when it came with it, I got all sorts of things. I got the wonderful straight stitch plate, right? So it has a straight stitch plate for when you're sewing delicates. It has, now remember that the 401 came with lots of built-in stitches, unlike the 403, because you can only do any kind of decorative stitch, zigzag, blind stitch even, with cams only. These top hat cams, which are wonderful, and I've shown these to you guys in earlier videos. See the video on the 403 and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Most of the stitches on the 401A are built in, which was an amazing thing. It was very expensive to make, and unlike some of the gears in, say, a Bernina, these are all metal. These are all steel. Does that mean I don't like Berninas? No, they are wonderful. The sound of a Bernina, the stitches they make are wonderful. But this machine has, in terms of the quality of its construction, I think is way up there. Now, it's a complex machine, and we'll talk about, I'll do a different video when I talk about this new to me, 401A, and the things I love about it and the things that really frustrate me, which is true of most any machine. Anyway, when you went into the Singer dealer to get this fancy all-automated machine, there were I believe there were five decorative or fashion stitches that Singer offered, but you couldn't they couldn't fit them all in on the big cam. There just wasn't enough room, I suppose. And so they said, okay, we're going to put in the little cam taker, because they already had engineered it for the 403. And if you would like, as an extra add-on, you can, they're trying to make, the dealer's trying to make money selling upgrades, upcharges, whatever. They said, you can get these extra 5 cams. One of them, you see 4 of them here in the box. The other one is in the machine itself. Then you'll have all the stitches you could possibly imagine. So it's just wonderful to see, all this is, a lot of times this stuff, by the way, gets separated. In fact, when I went to pick up this machine, I asked the seller, I said, is there any kind of sewing stuff that goes with it? I had to follow the advice I've given all of you, because people who sell sewing machines, they were selling it for their mom. She was no longer sewing, and they knew it was a sewing machine and a table, but this box was sitting in a storage box somewhere, and I only asked about it. Otherwise, this would have ended up in a thrift store somewhere, or, who knows? Sometimes these things get tossed because they get separated, right? Because the original owner, she knew what these were, but the people who are selling them for people later, years down the road, they don't always know, right? Or maybe somebody gives it to you and you don't know what this stuff is. But when I asked them, I'm glad I did, because now I have these. I have there's a straight stitch foot in here, which you would use with the straight stitch plate. Comes with this. This is not an original foot. It's a slant shank, but it's a zigzag foot, roller foot, and it's metal. You can get plastic versions. I like the metal ones. And then there's this foot. If you guys know what this is, let me know. I'm not quite sure. It's a slant shank. I don't think it's original, but it's certainly designed to work with slant shank machines. And it's not a tricot foot. I don't know. Anyway, those of you who know a lot more about your sewing feet, who sew, you may have actually used one of these before. Let me know if you know what it is. The rest of the feet that came with it are, here's a ruffler, slotted binder foot, zipper foot, gathering foot. The feet that you are not, there's nothing rare about these. They come. Grateful that there's a button foot here, because I sometimes need to sew buttons on. One of the few things I think I can do, sewing wise. And then of course we have the special stitch foot. This foot was designed to sew special stitches without unraveling them or snagging on them. So anyway, lots of really wonderful stuff here from the original owner, who would have paid, like I say, certain things came with a machine, but certain things you had to pay extra for. And just like today, they had special deals. Who knows, they may have had a sale. Hey, come in and we'll give you a free box of fancy attachments. And if sales slowed down, maybe we'll give you the extra fancy box, But anyway, this is my latest find. And just wanted to show this to you guys, because I went on and on about this table and this table design, how much I loved it. And then I let the last one go because people were saying, I really want this table, can you please sell this to me? And I'm not a sewer, you know, I mend and repair things. This, by the way, you guys, I don't know if you remember from the last video, but this button is solely here so that you can pull up this little panel, and then of course you can get down into the inside. I have taken the machine out. It was in here when I bought it, but I removed it so I could transport it a little more with a little more stability. And there's one pin that's missing here, but I have replacements for the spool pin there. But anyway, next video, guys, we'll talk about the 401A, and looks like I got my work cut out for me, but that wouldn't be the first time. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you in the next video.